Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner since 96, and you are watching my matchday preview, our so-called most important game of the season matchday preview. To be precise, it's a very big day in the season of Arsenal Football Club. Our season really does depend on today's game. A victory is a must. Everything other than that is secondary. Even a good performance is secondary. We just need to get a victory. We need to get a win. We need to go through to the next round, because I can't have Arsenal Football Club leaving the competition this early on. And you have to remember, this is only the round of 32. There's a long way to go before we can even think about lifting the trophy, but we need to get past Benfica. And look, credit to Benfica, they've made it really difficult for us. They've been a really worthy opponent. And remember, Benfica are a Champions League side opponent. They're a side that are consistently in that competition. They've had a very difficult last few years in terms of the way the club's been run, in terms of the players that they've sold. I mean, they have one of the brightest academies in the world, an academy that seems to bring out talent after talent year in, year out, but then they sell those talents for money and then they don't do anything with it. That's a big issue that they've had in the last few years, but having said that, they still are a very good side. And when we were drawn up against them, I was really worried that we were going to struggle against them. But I have to say, I've been a little bit disappointed in Benfica. I mean, as an Arsenal fan, you obviously want them not to play attacking football and you don't want them to pose a much of a threat. And that's exactly what they did in the first leg. But before we go on to talking about the second leg and all of that stuff, I'm going to discuss a couple of things that was said in Arteta's press conference. I wasn't able to release a full video on it, but seeing as we're doing a match day build-up, I think it would be good to pick out some relevant stuff to do with the game today. Starting off with the injury news on team news. Very happy to hear that Thomas Partey could be back. So this is what Arteta said. Thomas is very close. He's got a final test today in training. If he's feeling good, he will be available to play the match. Regarding Rob, he's not available. He had a concussion. We tested him and he's completely fine. But obviously, now we need to follow the protocols and he won't be available to travel. Holding, I'm not too concerned with because we have more than enough centre-backs to cover him in that position. Partey, on the other hand, is a massive difference maker. If you've got Thomas Partey in a team, you have got the difference between copper and gold. He's a transformative player. The moment you got Thomas Partey in your team, you know something is going to happen. And I think Benfica should be worried because the way that this guy bosses the midfield, the way this guy likes to play with the ball, on the ball, plays off the ball, and the type of passes that he makes, very dangerous and influential. And he's the type of player that can transform the way this whole team plays. He's such a good player. I still can't believe we've actually managed to get Thomas Partey at Arsenal. It's stepping stones and it's the right steps to the right direction. And hopefully it continues in the summer. But what a massive boost for us to have Thomas Partey back. And I'm praying that he starts the game. If he does pass this last minute fitness test, he will be in the squad tonight. And it will be the case that Arsenal go for an attacking brand of football all out, similar to which we have seen against the likes of West Brom, against Newcastle, against Southampton, Leeds. So, you know, I'm hoping, fingers crossed. And just a final question on Benfica. On Benfica's defensive positioning in the first game, causing offsides and what solutions we can find. This is a big one because I think they will play a similar style of football. And this is what Arteta said. They have a very aggressive backline and I don't know if we can expect a back three or back four tomorrow. I don't know what they'll try to do, but it's been a key principle in the way they're playing, in their way of playing that. They managed those situations really well. We were offside on many occasions. Credit to them as well for how they deal with those situations. Regarding the game and what we expect, again, a really tough game against a really aggressive team that want to come at you. And I'm expecting them to do the very same. Again, I don't know if I necessarily would say that they're an aggressively attacking side. They are a very well drilled defensive side. They know exactly what to do when a team is pressing. They will sit back in banks of 5, banks of 4 in front of the 5, and they will be very stubborn to let anyone go through. And again, I'll talk about how I expect Benfica to set up later on in this video, but it seems as if that Arteta knows how they're going to play football, and maybe a tactical plan to try and stop that from happening tonight. Let's talk about the team lineup. This is going to be important. I personally believe that this game is going to be won in the team lineup. If we get the team lineup right, we'll win this game. If we don't, we could potentially look at us exiting this tournament. So let's get into it. Team lineup. In goal, of course, we have Leno. There's no surprise there. On the right, this is going to be a very interesting decision from Arteta. Who starts on the right? If it's me, I'm picking Cedric all day long. I'm sorry to have to say this, but Bellerin has been in such a bad form of run of late. His performances have been declining game after game. He looks he doesn't look short of confidence. What he does look short of is quality, good decision making, and the ability to do the right things at the right time, which is also decision making. So I don't know why I just said that. But for me, you need to shore up that right hand side. Benfica will very well know that Arsenal's weakest side to attack is on that right hand side. He didn't fare very well in the first leg. He didn't fare very well against Man City. He's exploited time after time on that right hand side. I want Cedric to play there because I think Cedric is a more defensively drilled right back. He plays better as a defender. He's stronger as a defender, and going forward, he's not that bad. I mean, the thing I would say about Bellerin is that he is an excellent attacking right back. He's really good at going forward and linking up play with the likes of Saka, with the likes of Partey, Xhaka, Lacazette. He's good at running down that flank, trying to feed balls off of other players and getting the ball into the box. But as a defender, he is awful. And so I play Cedric on that right-hand side. Our centre-backs, this is an interesting one. Do I go for David Luiz and Gabriel, who are really, really good in the first leg? Or do I play Pablo Mari alongside with Gabriel? Or even Pablo Mari with David Luiz? If I'm being honest, I think I will definitely start David Luiz. I think he's been our most consistent defender. Bar that game against Wolves, he has been a consistent performer of late. I think experience is key in a game like this, and I would like him to play alongside Gabriel. I think the safest option would be to play Gabriel and David Luiz together. You got an excellent defender in Gabriel who has bags of talent but lacks the experience, and then you got David Luiz sitting next to him. They're both Brazilian, they both speak Portuguese. You got one experienced player, one not so experienced player, one excellent defender, one not so excellent defender. So I think the chemistry goes well. So those are the two centre-back pairing that I would go for. And on the left, of course, Kieran Tierney is back in full throttle. So Kieran Tierney for me has to start on that left-hand side. Needs to be careful though. I mean, that City game, it took it out of him. I'm hoping that he's fully back to fitness. But those are my four defenders, and then you have the central midfield partnership. Now, if Partey is back to full fitness and he's ready to start, I'm playing Thomas Partey all day long. Who do we play him with? Granit Xhaka or El Neni? I think it's a pretty easy one. For me, I'm going for Granit Xhaka because the partnership that they have managed to build in the last few games that they've been playing together have been excellent. Granit Xhaka knows how to play with Partey. Granit Xhaka excels when he plays with Partey, and they feed off each other really, really well. So I would love to see those two play in the middle. This is the interesting one. Who do you play going forward? The four players up front is going to be the deal breaker for me this game. It's so crucial that Arteta gets it right. So let's start with the number 10 role. I would like to see Emil Smith-Rowe play in a number 10 role. I think that's where he's most dominant. I think that's where he has shined whenever he's played there. I think Arsenal look better when he's playing as a number 10. He links up play. He links up that whole attacking side of the game so well, because everybody loves to play in and around him. He is able to create opportunities, open up defenses. He's able to get players in the right positions just by doing the odd bit of movement. And especially when he's got the ball, playing lovely 1-2s with Saka. Him and Saka, the chemistry they have, I don't know how, I mean, it's not much of a surprise because they've played together for the whole of their careers. But they've got such a good chemistry on the pitch. So for me, I think Smith-Rowe just gives that little bit more in that position instead of Odegaard. So I'd have him at number 10. On the right, you have to have Saka there. Saka needs to be on the right-hand side. He has bossed that area throughout the last 2 months. No one does it better than him. So he'll be on the right-hand side. On the left, this is an interesting one. Who do you go for? Do you play Aubameyang? Do you play Pepe? Or do you play Martinelli? Who do you go for? Let's not even forget about Odegaard. But what do you do with Odegaard? If I'm going into this game, a Europa League second tie, the game that you need to win, I'm going for the player who has shown me what he can do on that left-hand side. And despite not having started in the last few games, I'm going to go for Nicola Pepe on that left-hand side. And I'll tell you why. Nicola Pepe on that left-hand side has excelled. He's been excellent on that side. He showed the ability to play a direct form of football where he doesn't stop, he doesn't stutter, he doesn't try to, get past players with step overs, etc. He has done so well on that left-hand side, and his game has adapted really well on that left-hand side. I think he does a better job than what Aubameyang does. I mean, Aubameyang has been really, really poor of late on that side. I think he will struggle against a defensively structured side like Benfica. And Gabby, I just don't want to put him in that environment. I don't want to put him in a pressurized environment where if he does anything wrong, it will, it will hinder on his his progression, sorry. And so Pepe for me has to start on that side. But who do we play up front? Again, you've got the likes of Aubameyang and you've got Lacazette. Some may say you've even got Nketiah. But in this game, if I'm looking for a player who is going to disrupt the defensive formation of a team, I'm picking Alex Lacazette. Lacazette for me plays a fantastic lone striker role where he can morph himself into a false nine position, where he can allow the likes of Saka and Pepe to get involved into the box. And that's what you need. The more bodies in the box, the better. And that leads me on to how I expect Arsenal to play. I expect Arsenal to play a brand of high attacking, pressing football. What I saw in the first leg is that Benfica are not really much of a threat going forward. They are on the break. They have the potential to bomb men forward and to get in behind us. But if we can structure ourselves well in defence, if we can have David Luiz and Gabriel sitting at the back at all times, and if we can have Thomas Partey and Xhaka supporting that defence by moving slightly wide, then you've got a defensive side who's got 3 to 4 men back there ready for a counter-attacking press. You just need to be organised and you need to be structured. And so that leads me on to the attacking side. Talking about the attacking side of the game, I really hope that if Lacazette starts, he does what he does best. Great hold-up play, allowing others to get involved. I would like him to link up with Emil Smith-Rowe and Saka, get Saka and Pepe involved and try and get them into the box, and just commit as many men forward as possible so that you get them under pressure. There's no reason why Arsenal don't go all out today. they need to put the opposition under pressure. Otherwise, they're going to feel like they can play, they can set up the same way they did in the first leg. And look, do I expect anything different from Benfica? Not really, because the way they played against us in the first leg showed that it works for them. So I don't expect them to change the style of football that they're going to play. They're probably going to play maybe a little bit more controlling. They probably want to get a foothold early on in that game, try to get as much possession as possible, try to gain as much confidence as possible. But other than that, I expect them to sit back. I expect them to try and get an opportunity, try and see an opening, and then take advantage of it. But the most important question for me is, what happens if we lose? Well, the most obvious to state is that we will be out the Europa League and we'll be sitting 11th in the Premier League, and we will have a massive mountain to climb if we are to get any opportunity of qualifying or finishing in 6th to get into a Europa League position. It's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be a monumentous task. I don't know whether Arsenal have the depth in the squad to press on for a finish like that, 6th, 7th. But it will have a massive impact on, I think anyway, it will have a massive impact on what we're able to do in the summer, whether players are going to want to come in or not. And look, but having said that, there are a number of really good players that aren't playing in Europe. They don't need to be world class. I'm talking about teams like Aston Villa, Brighton, Everton. You know, these are teams that have good players but aren't in Europe. But enough about talking about the transfer window. The repercussions are clear. We won't be in Europe next season. And a part of me thinks that might do us the world of good. Not being in a European competition and potentially just focusing on the league might do us good than harm. Because if you think back to what led us to going through such a harsh start to the season, it wasn't that we just weren't performing well in the league. I would argue that it was because our concentration was drifting between the league and the Europa League. And if you look at the games where they were played and when we lost them, it was between Europa League games. And so if we're out of the Europa League and we're constantly focusing on who we're playing next in the league, psychologically that might put us in a better position than it has done in this season. So maybe if we're out of the Europa League, it might be a good thing, because then we are planning for next season. We're better prepared for next season. We know exactly what we need to do, and we can set up our goals and objectives for next season much earlier on. And hopefully that planning takes place earlier on as well. It's difficult to say because Arsenal Football Club should not be in a position where they're not competing for anything. We need to be competing for every trophy. But I also understand that we're going through a really tough period where we're transitioning into a completely different side to where we were. We were under a manager for over 21 years. And then the manager that took over didn't really work out. And now we have a completely a new figure in charge with a new philosophy, with a new idea. And all of these things are sort of having a knock-on effect in our performances. We don't have a complete squad. We don't have enough depth in our squad. So yeah, that's where I stand. If Arsenal are knocked out, we're knocked out. Should the manager go? No, I don't necessarily think so. If he is gone, someone else is going to come in. New ideas are going to be implemented. The whole process is going to start all over again. Can someone else do a better process than Arteta? Maybe. Yeah, why not? Arteta's a fresh cat in this big game, in a competitive world, and there are plenty of, experienced managers, coaches out there that can potentially do a better job than him. But then how long are you willing to wait to see that happen? Because when a new manager comes in, there is that process that needs to take place. And how long will it take that process at Arsenal? How long will it take a manager to get his plans into action? club. With Arteta, I think we're 50 to 60% there. I think we still have a lot of work to do. But when we finish that transition work, I see us doing really, really well under Arteta. And it's just a case of being patient. I mean, I trust the process. It's really sort of corny and cringy to hear those words nowadays, but I genuinely do. I think Arteta's a bright manager. I think he has it. He has the ability to turn this side into a contending side, definitely. And he has the ability to change the mindset of these players to want to challenge for trophies. But that all starts tonight. And I'm hoping we get a convincing win and we move on to the next round. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't and hit that bell notification to be notified every time I release a video. I'll be back tomorrow with a post-match reaction video where I'm hoping Arsenal do the business. But until then, stay home, stay safe and enjoy the game. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.